Hi, today's 5-minute short. Can you quickly start an Agile process fit for your team? I'm Joshua Barnes, joined by Al Shalloway. And Al, this is something that obviously I think a lot of people are interested in knowing or should be interested in knowing, right? Can you have some form of a quick start that will still be fit for purpose for a given team?
Well, the short answer, of course, is absolutely, because I've done it many times. I know you've done it. So it's not a question of can it be done? The question is how is it done? And what do you look at and why it's so important? So I want to start with the simple question because a lot of people argue for the quick start because it's simple. In fact, Scrum's kind of mindset is, well, it's simple. SAFe doesn't take simple, but they do give you here's the full thing. Just start with it, use it as is. I've heard all the way. I've heard Dean talk about. But so what we want to look at in thinking about a quick start is the people involved, the parties involved. And I look at them as three types because we talk about things being simple, but the thing itself might be simple, but who's using it may not be simple to them. You know, a Tesla is not simple, but it's a whole lot easier to use than like the Model T years ago. So you want to look at the people providing the training. See, I would suggest the predetermined starts are simple for them. You have an internal leader, which may actually be an external person, but the person who's going to lead it afterwards, you know, that may be a little more complicated for them. But the people you really need a quick start for, the people you really need simple for are the teams.
Right.
So I agree you want something simple. I agree you want a quick start. I agree you want something well-defined. But that doesn't mean it has to be predefined. So the question becomes, first of all, realizing that they don't need to be perfect. I mean, if you're here where a really well-defined process would work for you, and the predefined approach of Scrum or SAFe, for example, is over here, anything closer, if this is where you are, anything, I should be moving this one over there, anything that gets them closer is what you want. So a quick start doesn't have to be perfect. It just should be better than a predefined quick start. And the question is, how do you do that? How can you do that quickly? Now, if you're talking at the team level, I found there are only two questions you need to ask, which is basically, should we use flow or time boxing? And the other one is, what's the team structure we should use? The rest of the stuff is actually pretty much the same as a starting point. At the organization level, it's a little more complicated, but it's not that much more complicated. So there are some key questions to ask. This is what we teach in the Discipline Agile Value Stream Consultant Workshop. Has to do a little bit about how portfolio management works with teams and things, and does include the team structure. But it's not a massive amount of work. I think the real question here is something more fundamental, something we don't look at a lot of times in the Agile space, and that is the mindset on which all of our approaches are based on. Scrum, for example, bases on here's the framework, here are a few key practices you do, the roles, events, artifacts, and rules of Scrum that are immutable. It creates kind of a box for you to think within and figure out the rest. And notice what you're doing is you've got this framework that you're figuring things out. So of course that requires a starting point because it's designed that you'll figure things out in there. And actually when you're doing knowledge work and you've got a cross-functional independent team, it works quite well. The problem is Scrum's used in a lot of other places. Now SAFe takes a different approach. Here's this big framework and we'll tell you everything that's there. But see, they're both missing something, which is, well, wait a moment, maybe we can have you understand what's going on. Now, people say, oh, no, you don't understand until you've done. And I'm saying, wait a moment, we didn't pull these people off the street. They've been doing a lot. And you can learn from doing it wrong just as much as from doing it right. In fact, maybe even more. So if you teach universal principles and practices based on the experience people have, so they can relate to what a good practice would look like, you can take advantage of that, respect that knowledge, and ask them a few questions, give them a few key starting practices, and they can go with it. The key here is to think of the start as just an improvement as to where you are now. And in teaching these 2 or 3 questions at the team, or actually a couple of questions at the team, the 3 or 4 questions at scale, what you're doing is you're actually teaching as well, giving an example of how you make improvement. So when you start with this quick framework and you explain how you quickly got to it and some of the universal principles underneath it, you're also teaching them how to do continuous improvement later. And that's really what Agile should be about. We are uncovering better ways. That's the Agile in essence. Forget the rest of the 4 statements and the other 10 principles or 12 principles, we are uncovering better ways is the essence of Agile. Continue to learn. Don't start with something predefined. Respect people's current knowledge and understanding. And okay, maybe it's a little more work for the coach. Maybe it's a little more work for the company doing the training, but hey, you're paying them money. That's okay. That's their job.
What you should expect.
Exactly. So the fact that it might be harder than them, well, make them earn their money. Have them give you something fit for purpose. It can definitely be done. And it's something Joshua and I teach in our workshops. So that's my 5 minutes.
That's the 5 minutes. And if you have any questions on this, please drop comments on the, if you're watching this on LinkedIn or if you watch it on replay on YouTube, and we'll do our best to answer your questions.
Okay, I've got to tell a joke here. Sorry. You can cut it out of the recording if you want to, but people would tell you who know me that it's harder to get Al to say anything in 5 minutes. And that's tougher than getting a quick start done. So if I can keep my talks to 5 minutes, you can definitely get a quick start done quickly.
Well said. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Bye.